Shah Rukh Khan, or I've also seen him listed as Sir. Now he plays Pathaan, and I was entranced at his action abilities, but also the way that he was able to bring some levity when it was called for. He has great timing when it comes to feeding off of the other actresses' performances. And then, when he has to kick butt, he brings the hurt in very convincing ways. Now, Deepika Padukone, and I'm sure I'm probably mispronouncing her name, but she plays a character named Rubina, and she's just as tough at times as Pathaan, and she can hold her own in a fight. She also has some excellent chemistry with Pathaan, making their sequences both captivating and tense. Now there's a point where we're introduced to Rubina, and this sort of music video breaks out. Now, all for the musical numbers in Indian films, but this one, while it was still fun to watch, the execution felt more out of place than a natural part of the storytelling. And it truly became a music video edited with intermixing costume changes for the characters, and it was just a little jarring. I mean, ultimately it's not something that ruins the film by any means, but it's not the type of musical inclusion that I was anticipating. One of the other main actors in this story is John Abraham, who plays Jim. So first off, as an American, watching this indie film, having a character named Jim, it was just kind of funny. But he's a powerful character. There are fight sequences with the guy in good gravy. Can he bring the pain in some fierce ways? I mean, the punches are monstrous, and it's really amazing how anybody could take more than just a couple of hits from his powerful swings. But that's what makes this so much fun of a ride. I mean, if you enjoy movies like Mission Impossible films or The Expendables or heck, even kung fu movies, this one delivers hand over fist. I mean, it's not a non-stop action fest. There are many slower moments that allow for character development and exposition as well as just story building. But when the action begins, it's a wild ride. There are hand-to-hand battles on top of moving objects, gunfights that look and feel like they've come out of a John Wick movie, and then stunts that will make you simultaneously laugh out loud and clap your hands at how ridiculous and exciting they are. I mean, there's one scene that happens on a train, and during this, there's this fight sequence that looks and feels like it's a one-shot continuous take. Now, maybe there are edit points in there, but from the look of it, the camera moves through the action, taking in all of the battle, and then it swings around to capture new points of view as more and more punches and kicks are delivered in what looks like a seamless manner. Now, this was an intense scene, and because of how it was filmed, it was raising my blood pressure from all the peril and the excitement. This is very reminiscent of huge 90s, blockbuster action films where there are bullets flying all over the place and explosions going off all around the characters, who are then also doing death-defying stunts that just leave your jaw hanging open. And then to top it all off, the story. It's interesting and fun. Now, while I may not get some of the political or cultural tensions, the story is universal enough that I think anybody from any place can understand and enjoy it. The tension builds also as the story moves along, because while Pathaan is chasing the bad guy, there's a dwindling time limit that adds incredible urgency to the narrative. At points, there is literally a clock counting down. And while some of those actions and the outcomes, they're very predictable, I found that it didn't ruin or take away from any of the suspense. I was hooked and loving it. The film is sort of on the shorter side of other Indian movies that I've seen. This is just 2 hours and 26 minutes, so it does go by pretty quickly. And I'd mentioned that it's not an all-out action fest without any other dramatic moments. There's a fair amount of downtime where we get to know the characters and grow connections with them. And this isn't to say that it's slow, because I was never bored. There are just breaks in the action that allow the story to breathe, which then creates natural beats within the pacing that help to keep the entire thing interesting. And for as predictable as a lot of the story is, there are still moments in this that managed to surprise me, which was a nice surprise. I wasn't minding the obviousness of many of the arcs, but when the story could subvert my expectations, it made me like it even more. Now there's another music video inclusion in here that feels like it's a fragrance commercial that plays through a lot of the credits at the end of the movie. But then there's also a mid-credits scene that I thought was funny, and I think it hints at what's to come for the future of this cinematic universe. In case you're curious, I looked up the other films in this spyverse, and according to Wikipedia, so there is a little bit of that wonkiness when it comes to credibility. But there's Ek the Tiger Tigers in a High War Pathaan, and then coming later this year, Tiger 3. Now I'm going to try and find the others just to see if they're as much fun as Pathaan. So overall, Pathaan delivers high-octane thrills through over-the-top action sequences that would feel right at home in any Mission Impossible film. The characters are deeply developed and extremely charismatic, creating story arcs that are recaptivating and emotional. While the story overall is predictable, The movie manages to find areas of surprise, leading to enjoyable twists and character complications. The musical number in the first part of the film feels oddly placed, but it's catchy and still entertaining. And this is an example of what the cinematic spyverse contains. I'm all in, and I can't wait to see more. There's no sex or nudity, a little bit of profanity, and then a ton of violence. I give Pathaan 4.5 out of 5 couches. So what is a crazy action film that you've seen in recent months that you really enjoyed? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. Thanks for watching with me.